Thumbs up.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Cool. Thank you, Arnold. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining this session on project management with Prince 2. Before we go into today's session, before we start all the plenty talk that we have planned for you, normally we like to do a quick introduction. It's just something simple. Give me your name. If you're comfortable telling me what you currently do, that's fine. And what your expectations are of today's session, and that's it really. So that's like the standard that we adopt across all the courses. So if you don't mind, and also it's fine to put on your cameras if you're in a place where you can. But if you're not, that is completely fine too. So I'll start with the introductions, and then you can put up your hand if you want to, or we can just go randomly as well. My name is David, and I'm the lead trainer of the Grady Academy. We've been doing this for about 10 months because it's not up to a year. And we basically offer trainings on different fields across different sectors for beginners. That's what we do. How we do it is slightly different from how many other people do it, I believe. But after the introductions, I'll give you like a proper presentation on how we do the things we do, why we do it the way we do it, and why we think you can trust us with your success stories or with your journeys professionally. That's really. I'm David. Personally, I work in data. I work as a Power BI reporting lead, and I've been doing this for a couple of years actually. I'm not a project manager. You would speak to your project manager when the time comes. So yeah, that's the introduction for me. Does anybody want to go first? Tell us your name, what you do, what your expectations are. That's it really. Keep it simple. Keep it brief. Who wants to go first? Please let me hear from you guys. Okay, Arnold, go for it.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arnold. I am currently a support worker, and my expectations for this, I just expect sort of an overview, um, or an insight towards the project management is, um, basically to after this, I'll be able to make an informed decision on what career path really I want to take. But currently, I'm just a support worker. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds like in the right place. Thank you for joining. Does any other person want to try? Introductions. Let's meet you. Let's hear from you. I mean, I'm just gonna call names randomly. Adetutu. Adetutu Oluwatayo. If you can speak, please, I would love to hear your voice. I mean, we can see your name. Tell us the other bits that we cannot see. Adetutu, any luck? B, Formulayo, Gift.
Hi,
Okay, B, go for it.
I'm not sure why my name is recorded as B, but my name is Blossom Obimusu. I'm currently a PMO analyst.
Okay.
And I've just joined this session to sort of, I'm already in the space, I'm already in the project management space, but I thought it would be a good idea to just hear from other practicing project managers and potentially learn a thing or two that I can add to what I do and maybe contribute to the discussion if needed. So yeah, that's why I'm here and happy to meet everybody.
Thank you very much. Happy to have you too. So I think your name is B because when you try to join, I think that's what you put. So I'm not sure. I think.
Yeah, I was just too lazy to type the name in full.
So
yeah.
So you're the one that told us your name is B.
Yes.
Thanks for joining. Does any other person want to go? Formulayo, Gift, Onyekachu, Remy, and even Toluwalope. Does anybody want to introduce themselves? Please.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Tanya Kachoko, and I am a software engineer.
Okay.
So expectations for this is I'm just trying to understand what it feels like being in the project management space. So yeah, that's it for me.
So you're used to dealing with project managers, but in a different way.
Yeah, definitely.
It stresses you a lot, right? I'm just.
Nobody loves project managers now, so
that's a very good way to start today's session. I hope you can put that to rest. Nobody loves project managers. Okay, that's a very strong accusation, by the way. But that's fine. Does any other person want to go before I go into my tiny introduction about?
Yes.
Okay, Go for it.
Hi, my name is Fumilayo. I'm a digital marketer and I also work as a support worker. I My expectation for this course is just to learn more about project management. Thank you.
Cool. I believe you're in the right place. Thank you very much. Um, any other person? Any other person?
Hi, David. I can go.
My boss, go for it.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Tolu. I currently work as an agile project manager. Just looking to learn more about Prince 2.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you for joining. Cool. Any other takers? Or we can just go right into it. Nobody. Cool. Can you guys see my screen? Can anybody see my screen? Just before I carry on. Can anybody see my screen? Okay, cool. Yeah, so you're not going to hear my voice for too long. I'm not the PM person. I'm more of a data person. So I'll do the introduction as to the Radio Academy, what we do, how we do it, what drives us, and why you can trust us, basically, before handing the floor over to Olabisi Shokuli, that will be running you through the course itself. As I've said before, we do a lot of trainings. It's not really a tech school, because even though at the moment it looks like most of our courses are tech related, but that's not the vision. If there are other courses that are not necessarily tech related, if there is a trainer and there is a demand for it, we are more than happy to take it on. Just to put that out. So we're not really a tech training institution, we're a training institution. If tomorrow somebody wants to take a course on accounting and we have people that want to learn, we will facilitate it. So we're happy to do that, just to clarify that bit. There are four things that drive us, and that's what we have on the screen. At the core of everything we do, we care. We genuinely care. I know there are many schools that are training. There are many instructors, there's nothing new about what we're doing. But I cannot say confidently that all of them care. And that's the simple truth. But I can speak for us, we genuinely care. We care in terms of how we do our things, in terms of the people we put in front of you to train you. Because it's very possible to have someone that trains you on a subject and they can't even land a job in that subject themselves. So that questions the ability to train you in the first place, because why are you training me on a subject that you cannot get a job in? And I'll give you an example. Imagine if I bring someone that is a project manager in Nigeria, for example, to come and train people that are trying to break into project management in the UK. That's a mismatch, because the environment where they're playing their own project management is completely different to what is obtainable in the UK. So we won't do that. We bring trainers that not only work in the field, but actually know exactly what they're doing in the sectors, the environments that matter to our students. So that's part of our duty of care. And we care also because our success story is not calculated or defined by you completing the course. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to complete the course and then get something, get a job. That's the success story. That's exactly what we want. The courses they're everywhere. Information is everywhere. But getting into the industry is the hard part. That's the part we're trying to help with. We're professionals through and through. All our trainers, as I said, are established professionals. We don't have rookies among us. We have people that are well established in their field, respected, and that gives them the audacity to be able to train with authority, because they've been there, they do it, they live it, they can walk the talk. There is quality in everything that we do, from our presentation to the content that we share to how we manage our time, to our communication. The quality has to shine through. It's non-negotiable. And when we put 1, 2, 3 together, excellence is the easy part, because in everything that we do, we genuinely want to be excellent. We genuinely want to thrive. So, as I said, the ultimate success story for Divided Academy is not course completion. It's a job offer. It's not an easy process. It's very ambitious, but ultimately, that's why this was set up, to actually get people into the industry. And yeah, that's the goal for us, really. How do we do that? Yes, that's the goal, but how do we go about achieving that? We have a learning model that is pretty straightforward. When you join the class, any of the courses, the first thing you get is your student email address, like you do if you get at uni. You get your first name, last name. That gives you access to all the different tools in the Microsoft environment, even those related to your course and those not related to your course. So, for example, if you were to sign up for a project management course, you get your full Office 365 license that gives you access to all the Microsoft resources. And also you can play around with things like Azure because you already have the account. So why not? So that's how we manage things. We don't use Zoom. Everything is run on Microsoft environment, on Teams, Outlook, things like that. All our courses are instructor-led, meaning at no point in time are we going to put you in front of a video to watch a video. No, that's not how we do this. All our courses are live trainings and are instructor-led. There will be someone, real person, not AI, actually teaching you in every single class. At the end of the course, we have a project where we can to validate your learning to be sure you actually know what you're doing and you can do it independently. If you decide to go for a professional exam, it is our responsibility to support you through that process. We will prepare you, we will support you, we'll make sure you're ready for the exam before asking you to go and write the exam. It's on us. And again, if you're wondering why, I think this is maybe the bit that is slightly different to every other training entity out there, is that why are we talking about professional exams? It's simple. It's because the success story that, as I've said before, we care about is you getting the job. If we think the professional exam would increase your chances of getting a job, then by all means, we want to get you to that certification. If we think by getting certification, it's easier to get a job, then sure, we want to support you through that process. That's why that bit is there. It's not compulsory, it's optional. And not every course will have a certification, but where there is, if you decide you want to take it, by all means, we will support you. So that's the learning model. I think it's fairly simple, it's straightforward. I'm the David, by the way. I'm the one that set all of this up. So I'm not some random ghost CEO somewhere behind the scenes just pulling strings and calculating money. Absolutely not. I'm a trainer myself. I trained the Power BI course, and we've been doing that for a while. So I am very involved in the things that happen here. I am not just some CEO that is just somewhere typing emails and sending stuff. No, I am very involved, and that's why I'm in your faces today. So it's not my course, it's not my day, it's not my session, but that's my introduction. Does anybody have any question around the school, how we do what we do, why we do the way we do it, before we hand the floor over to our project manager for today? Because I am not a project manager, I am a data person. So are there any questions before I hand the floor over to Olabisi? Arnold, go for it.
Hi, thank you for the introduction. I just have a question. Based on this overview you've given, so averagely, what do you say the timeline is from start to completion of the course?
So there are different courses, and that would vary from course to course. Let me put it that way. So for the Prince 2 project management, I reckon it will be around 6 to 8 weeks. Ashabi, correct me if I'm wrong. And there's the part of the model that I also did not touch on that maybe I should have. Our courses are not long. Like when I say long, they're not lengthy. Like I see a lot of courses and boot camps. You see 3 months, 4 months boot camp. And honestly speaking, I don't think I can do a course for 4 months if it's not a degree. I genuinely do not think I can sit down in a course for 4 months if it's not a degree. And so we try to make sure our courses are short. But even though we are compressing the timelines, we don't want to miss out anything that is important. So it's short but effective. We go straight to the things that matter. We don't bore you with the theory that doesn't matter. And that's why the people that train you are people that work on the job, people that do the job. They know the things that matter. And that's why our courses are maximum 8 weeks. We try to keep our courses within 6 to 8 weeks because I genuinely do not think you should be learning anything for 4 months. It's just a long time, and it's very easy to lose steam and momentum. So yeah, we keep our courses to 6 to 8 weeks. Arnold.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, another question. I saw when you were putting out this link for all of this, there are quite different variations of the project management. Sorry, yep. I'm inexperienced to this. I'm going to ask a lot of new questions.
It's fine. That's what this is for. Don't apologize.
So there were different variations of this project management. I saw the project management for Prince 2, and there was another project management. So please make me understand what exactly is the project management and what's the difference? Because if I was to make a career decision, I want to know, okay, where am I best fitted,
I mean, I'm probably not the best to be answering these project management questions, to be honest, but I'll try. So in project management, there are different methodologies, okay? There are different methodologies. So there is, Ashabi's hand is up. You know what? Let's let the expert address this. So Ashabi, go and answer the question. I'll respect myself.
No, not at all. So, hi guys, good afternoon. And Arno, thank you for that question. So, in project management, right, we have different methodologies, which I'll still be touching based on when we go on session. The one we had this morning is on Agile, basically, and that's for IT projects. When we say Agile, it means doing too many things at the same time. You don't have to follow a particular process. I'll explain more as the training session goes on. But for the project management with Prince 2, the one we are having now, it's not specialized. I mean, you don't have a specification yet that probably you're in the water sector, you're in the construction, you're in the financial sector, or manufacturing. No. Prince 2 generally lets you know how something is done, how a project is handled. So that way you're able to now decide if you actually want to specialize whatever sector you want to go to. I, for instance, I'm in the water sector. The presenter this morning, that's Tolu. Tolu is in IT. So that way you're able to then say, okay, this is the reason why Prince 2 is probably important, because you don't have a specialization. You're learning everything concerning project management and how Prince 2 says projects should be handled. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think Ashabi is ready for us, so I'm just going to shut up and let her do her thing. So, guys, yeah, the next person that will speak to you is the person that actually runs the course. I'll be here all through, so I'm not running away. Don't worry about together. And yeah, I'll speak to you again at the end of the presentation. Over to you, Olabisi.
Yeah, thank you, David, for that wonderful introduction. I'll just need guys to confirm. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I can.
Okay. Yeah, so to make it as interactive as possible, I have just very few slides for us. And at the end of each slide, I'll probably leave it open to ask questions. You're free to raise up your hands for me to call on you, or you either drop your question in the chat box. But yeah, that's it. So who is Olabisi? I currently work as a project manager. I consult for a company here in the UK. And I consult basically on water projects, even though I do some things in the construction sector and IT sector. But yeah, my main focus is the water project. How did I get into project management? It's quite funny because my undergraduate, my HND and ND was in mechanical engineering. And then I moved into the manufacturing sector for like 2 years, where I did project support officer. Back to banking, I was there for 8 to 10 years. Operation staff, marketing, projects, coordinating, and all. And then when I had to move to the UK, I thought about it. Do I still want to go back to engineering? No, definitely. I mean, I've spent a good number of years in project environment, so I really just want to continue in that line, even though I can still find a way to merge both together. I mean, we have project engineers that work on projects, so I can still use that knowledge of engineering. So it's actually not a lost knowledge, but for now, I'm probably focusing more on project management. So I moved to the UK. I had my master's in project management. And while I was having my master's, I started joining all these boot camps. And that's why I actually encourage people to start early. You have to plan. And project management is quite funny because even as individuals, this is something you do on your own. Like everything is a project. You waking up in the morning and all the activities you carry out throughout the day is a project. How do you plan is left to you. And that's where the methodology comes in. Okay, I want to go a certain way. I have to finish this task before I move to another task, or I want to just do everything simultaneously. So we'll get to that again as the course goes on. And then I said, okay, let me just start having my boot camps now since I have enough time, and then start preparing myself to land a job. So I started early. I did about 2 different boot camps. And at the end, I think really favored me because I landed a job even before I graduated, even before I submitted my dissertation. I had different options. I had more senior level roles, but we all know the reason why. I mean, after studies, what happens? You have to find a job that will actually sponsor you. So I had to settle for the one that will give me sponsorship immediately. So I ended up with the company I work with at the moment. Then I'm able to do other things still within the occupation code that I am. So yeah, and then I started practicing. I mean, for my certifications, I needed to prepare. I had lots of options, but then because I did not have the mentorship, I did not network as much as I was meant to do. I I wouldn't say I made a wrong choice for the exam that I did first, but I mean I went for it, failed at first, and then I did it again and then I passed. So I think having this session would actually help you. Coming on board will actually help you when you have someone that has a real life experience, someone that will be there and accessible to actually guide you through your journey in project management. I want to understand that most of the people I have on this call are going to be beginners, even though I've seen my senior colleagues, I've seen people that we work with, I've seen a developer, and I've seen an engineer that said they don't like project manager. And trust me, it's mutual. We don't like you people either because you guys stress us and the work just has to be done, and the clients will not understand how you do it. They really do not care about your efforts. What they want to see is the end result. And trust me, they just want a successful project delivery, and that's all that matters to them. So how do we go into project management? Let me get someone to probably drop it in the chat box. What do you understand by project management? What do you understand by project? What do you understand by management? If I can get 2-3 answers, I think that would be great. If you want to unmute, I'm happy to have you speak, or you just drop in the chat box. David, now I don't understand. Text is, how will I get access to my chat box?
Don't worry. I'll sort it out for
you.
you.
Read it off for me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I totally found it though.
So guys,
so let's make it interactive.
What do you understand by, is it by a project or project management? Which one?
Either. If you want to define project, if you want to define management,
Okay.
if you want to define both, I'm happy to have as many explanations as possible.
Who wants to go? Who wants to try?
I don't want to be a radio, so please let us speak. I'm going to have to call names.
Please, by all means, I would enjoy that part. So call names, please.
Yeah, Arnold, do you have your hands up here?
Projects, basically, an uninformed definition though, but projects can be defined as any task you wish to carry out. Management separately can be the act of organization or the skill of organizing anything, a group or whatever.
And then when we now say project management, what do you think we're talking about?
Together, I feel is okay. The same thing, the act of or the process of trying to achieve a result, a desired result. So I think it talks about the steps involved to just achieving the result.
Yeah, thank you so much. You've done well. So when we say project, yet any task that you want to achieve, you already set a mindset to it that okay, in the next 2 to 3 months, I need to get this sorted. That is what we call a project. And then management, as it means, literally, you're managing it, you're controlling, you're planning, you're getting everything on board to ensure it comes to a successful end. So when we now say project management, basically, how do I manage my project? What are the things I need to consider in managing my project? That is what project management means. And as we have on the slide, I said project management is the application of processes, methods, skills, knowledge, experience to actually achieve a specific project objectives according to the project scope. What do we mean by project scope in this context? That's like a boundary. You're setting a timeline, you're setting a boundary, you're setting yourself that these are the things I must follow to actually achieve this project as successful as I can. Actually, sometimes even despite the fact that you plan, you can still like fail, but we want to believe that most projects end up well if you have a project scope and then you actually follow the project scope as agreed between you and your client or your stakeholder. And then I mentioned that a key factor that actually distinguishes project management from management is that project management, you have a final deliverable. I want to build a house. That's your mindset. That is your end goal. That has to happen. But management is just business as usual. It is what happens every day. Nothing is going to change. It's still going to be the same thing that you're going through over and over again. I would like to have probably a suggestion on the project that we should take note for this session. I can suggest if I don't get anyone to mention, but yeah, I think it's only fair to allow us drop suggestions. You can drop a chat. What project should we consider? Left to me, I'll say our relocation process is a project that all of us here can actually relate to. So if I can just probably thumb ups for us to just agree and go on with that, that will be fine. Yeah, so I think I'll go with that. So relocation. we all started from somewhere, and then when we're coming on board, we said, oh, I want to relocate. You've thought about it, and that is what you had in mind, that you want to move. So when you think of relocating to a new country, why do you think it's important for you to actually plan on this particular project? The first one is the foundation for success. If you just carry your bag and you get to the airport, there is no way you fly. I mean, you don't have a visa or you don't have a passport. Definitely that foundation is already not there. So there is no way you'll be able to achieve your project. So the way project management does in that regard is you've planned, you have a good foundation, you have your passport, you've applied for your visa, you've settled your accommodation, you have your school registration documents and all. So that means the foundation is very intact, and then you can proceed. And then I said, for risk mitigation and planning, what do we mean risk? Let me say risk mitigation and planning. One major risk that you first consider about your trip is if, for instance, now you get to the UK, and then because you had late registration done, you already know the school would have probably communicated to you not to bother traveling down. So you've thought about it, that the school has given me a deadline that I have to be in the UK, say for instance, by June. And then as at May, you've not applied for your visa. That's already an issue. That's a risk already. And then what do you now do to mitigate it? Are you going to communicate to the school the reason why you're unable to apply for visa? Is that there is no visa appointment date? Is it that your passport wasn't ready? Is it that you had some visa application documents that you were unable to get? Say, for instance, your transcript now is not available at that moment. Those are the risks. And then you now mitigating it is, what do I need to do to ensure this risk does not happen and become an issue? I have to apply for my transcript as early as I can. I need to communicate to the school and let them know these are my plans and these are the stage that I am. I have to apply for my visa as early as possible so I can get a favorable decision or otherwise before then. And then I talked about resource optimization. What do we mean by resource optimization? Resources are the people that would probably work on your project to make you achieve a successful delivery. So resources, for instance, in our relocation journey is you have the visa office, you have the home office, you have where do we have a tuberculosis test done? I can't remember the name now. Yeah, that test center. Anyway, I can't remember.
It's IOM.
Yeah, IOM. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, David. Yeah, so you have to ensure that they are also on board. If they are not in the city where you reside, you're already making plans on how you travel down to the city where they have for you to get your test done. Those are resource optimization. How do you ensure now on another project? How do you ensure that the resource optimization goes across board and evenly, where you're not overwhelming a particular section? You're not sending things meant for IOM, for instance, to the home office. Information meant for your school, you're not sending it to home office, or the ones meant for home office to your school. Those are resource optimization, and you ensuring that everybody's hands is on deck to actually achieve success. And then stakeholder communication. By stakeholder, we mean anybody that will be affected by the project, whether they have direct influence or not. For the stakeholders in this relocation process, your family, for instance, even though they would not, you would think, oh, they are not really important, you don't need to communicate to them. But yeah, you might need to communicate to them because you need them to know, oh, by next month, I'm going to be leaving this country. If you have probably a niece or a nephew that stays with you, you have to communicate to them and let them know. Or you probably have to start finding a new accommodation, maybe start finding a new school to attend. You have to prepare their minds and let them know. Even though most people, when they're traveling, I mean, they do not allow every other person to know they are traveling. You want to keep it a secret. But yeah, when we're talking about stakeholder communication, you have to engage every other person on the project. You have to engage your school when you're having visa delay to let them know this is the status, this is where you are. I remember that I had that issue and I had to just continue communicating with the school regularly, continue communicating with my lecturers. I joined my classes and also, yeah, those are the things we mean by stakeholder communication. And then for your project management to be very important to you, you have to consider the adaptability and flexibility. How flexible are you? Or if UK doesn't work, are you open to moving to Canada? Are you open to moving to US? Are you open to moving to Australia, for instance? Even if you remain in Nigeria, what will be the next step? Are you going to probably further your education in Nigeria or go into another line of business? When you actually engage in project management for your relocation purpose, you're able to make all these decisions. It lets you get flexible as much as you can. You can even apply to many countries at the same time. So that is the flexibility we're talking about. And then a measurable performance and continuous improvement. You're able to measure the performance because by the time you leave IOM, for instance, you have lessons learned from there. You're able to share that lesson with other people that, oh, when you're going to IOM, oh, you don't need to go as early as possible. Just go at your correct appointment time because they would not attend to you before that time. If you need to go from probably Lagos, oh, I had transport issues, probably I'll advise you go a day before and all. Those are the measurable performance that we're talking about. And then the continuous improvement is you're able to now measure what you need to do on your own, and then you ensure that you improve as your relocation process goes on. For instance, you're joining your classes and then you realize you don't have a personal laptop, and then probably they give you more assignments to do. You know, oh, I really need to get a laptop before I leave the country because I would need it as my course goes on. For client satisfaction and quality assurance. So this now, because we're considering relocation, I'm going to say, well, client satisfaction. At the end of my project management journey, I arrived in the UK successfully. I engaged in my lectures. I got a job. That is client satisfaction. The quality assurance, everything on my journey went well. I was able to achieve everything without stress and I got it with ease. That is basically project management, talking about relocation as your project. Do we have any question? Am I too fast or too slow? I don't want to think I'm too slow, actually. I think I'm fast. And I'm just being time conscious.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's a
IB.
question.
Hi. Thank you for that presentation, and I like that you related it to relocation, or we agreed to relate it to that because it kind of puts a lot of things in perspective. But my question is, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there like, do you kind of can it be rearranged? For example, is the number one, like you have foundation for success as number one? Is there like a way it should go, or anyone can come before the other? Because given the case study
Okay.
that we are looking at, I would imagine that you would, for lack of a better expression, count your cost before you even start the process. For example, the first thing you should do is, personally, what I know I did was I did a spreadsheet of every cost that had to go into this. And in a project management um setting, I would imagine you do like some level of budgeting, see how much you, more like counting your cost and all of that. So based off of this slide, I just wonder, does anything come before the other, like, or this is how it should go? I hope my question is clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay,
So this
thank you.
is in no particular order.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in no particular order because I don't want to go in depth. By the time I want to actually talk about projects life cycles, and then I'll start from initiation to planning, but I want to make it as relatable as possible. That's why I have it all scattered. For instance, if you're actually planning to travel and then I want to arrange these importance of project management, you should start from stakeholder communication because you should definitely have this conversation with maybe one person or two. This is what I want to do. What do you think? It's not possible
Okay,
that you
sorry, I
just
just
wake up and say,
sorry, I should shut up. Just continue with your flow and your train of thought.
no, no,
I
no,
should
no,
just
no,
shut
no, no,
up.
no. That's fine. No, 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 not at all. All ideas are welcomed. I mean, they are very welcome. So yeah, no offense at all. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, yeah, so we can now move to the key elements of project management. When I say key element of project management, it means everything that forms the project life cycle, everything that forms project management. My part of a body now makes me a human. I have my eyes, my ears, and everything. So what does project management entails? You start from the scope. Now, again, in no particular order. So the scope, what does scope mean? Scope is like a document, an agreement that says this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is when you'll be getting it. These are the things you'll get. These are your deliverables. These are the things I'll do. These are the things I will not do. I'm giving you all the details for you to go through it and then agree with me that yes, you're okay, you're happy with that. Then we can proceed with the project. Most times when we have scope creep or project fails, it's just because there is a faulty scope. Now, bear it in mind that your scope can change alongside when your project goes on, and then that's where the change management team will come on board and then review why there is a change. However, people feel so lazy and then they just develop the scope based on their own assumption. Sometimes people use the template that is readily available, probably on a previous project, and then they just try to add one or two things and just send to the clients. Bear it in mind that a relocation plan for a single person would definitely be different from a relocation plan for someone that has kids, or people without children, or couples without children, yes, so to say. And then you have to first agree and think about everything. Okay, because we have kids, what do we need to do? We need to get probably a childminder. We have to sort our children's school. You're stating all that in the scope, and the couple, they both agree this is what would happen. And then I'm happy for us to proceed using that. So anything that goes outside that scope is scope creep. And then you need to sit down, readdress it, and then reevaluate and move on with the project. When we say time, I want to leave Nigeria, and I'm saying, oh, I want to leave Nigeria in 3 months. I've given myself a timeline that way, that I have to leave Nigeria in 3 months. I have to complete my master's in 1 year. That means I must not fail, because if I fail a course, it means I have to apply for extension, and I'm going beyond the timeline I've set. When you go beyond the timeline, bear it in mind that you have more costs, because then you have to pay for your visa extension. If you plan probably coming to the UK, study, and then go back to the home country, you plan to pay rent for a year, and then when you have an extra probably a few months to add, you have to start paying your rent again, and then that is you going outside the timeline you've set. So if I set a timeline of 3 months, I'm putting it in my scope that, oh, leaving Nigeria, which is probably at the initiation stage, is for 3 months. I must leave, I must apply for my visa, I must get all my documents sorted all within the 3 months. That is what we mean by time. And for budget, just like Blossom said, she had a spreadsheet. This is what I want to spend on each task. For my IOM test is 28,000. I've stated it out. Visa application is maybe 50K. I've stated it out. Oh, I want to apply for is it priority? Yeah, priority or super priority. It costs £500. You've stated every single thing that you know you're going to spend. Now it's easier when you've actually communicated with someone before now, because if the person has more idea of how the relocation works, or the person has even relocated, they can also share, oh, this is how I did mine. These were the costs that I had during my own relocation time. So it will probably give you a guide. And then you have to now consider what could happen that will make your cost change. That would be you considering inflation. We all see how it's happening now. The school fee at the rate which you paid your fees when you were coming is definitely not the same now. So when you have a good budget plan, and then you have budget contingency plans also in place. Contingency in the sense that, oh, if it increases, if a particular amount I fix for this task increases, I have something that I can fall back on and say, okay, I'll use this to sort up and match it up. That is what we mean by the contingency plan in budgeting. And then the resource, you have a list of all the resources and you want to tell them what they will do. IOM will definitely handle my TB test. The visa of home office will handle my visa application. My school will handle this. I have to go on accommodation site to get my house. They will handle. If I have friends in the UK already, oh, Tommy said she's going to accommodate me. That's a resource. And then I'm putting a timeline that I need Tommy for. Tommy will be accommodating me for 3 months, and then I have to get my own accommodation. IOM will have to do my test in a day, and then I get my result in 7 days. Those are the things we mean by resource management, where you've stated the people that you need on that project, and you've also assigned duties to them. Then we move to procurement management. Procurement management, basically just like the name, procurement. What are you buying? If I need to travel now, I'll need to probably get clothes. I need to get shoes. I need to get my travel bag. I need to get food items. What method do I want to use to procure? Do I want to outsource this, or do I want to do it myself? If I'll outsource, that means I'll probably spend more, because I'll pay someone for their time and for them to go get the resources, the things I need. Bear it in mind that they can actually increase the cost to at their own gain, and that means I'm going to be spending more. But for a busy person, you might not mind, oh, that makes it easier for me. I don't know anywhere to go get these things, so I can just outsource. If I want to do it in-house, oh, I'm going to stress myself. I'll go to the market myself. I'll get every other thing I need myself. That is what we mean by the procurement management. You have to make a decision. Do you want to make those offers yourself and go get them, or you want to buy by outsourcing to other people? Procurement management also has to deal with the contracts, because for suppliers, you have to sign a contract with them. This is the highest amount I want you to get, a travel bag, for instance. I'm budgeting 20K. I don't want anything more than 20K, and that is the final. So those are the things you handle when you talk about procurement management. And then the risk management, I mentioned something along that line initially. Now, what if my visa is not approved, for instance? That means you're staying back in Nigeria. Another plan is, I'm also applying to Canada. So I want to believe if UK doesn't give me visa, probably Canada will. That's a mitigation plan in place that, if this one doesn't work, I have another one that is going to work. What else are the risks that will be involved in my relocation? You're listing everything that comes to mind. You're listing it out. From your stakeholder engagement, you've already had lessons of what people learned about their own risk. You have your proof of funds. You have to run it for 28 days. If you run for 27 days, that is grounds for refusal already. If you do not calculate your proof of funds right, those are grounds for refusal. So you've already stated those risks that might happen. And then you have the mitigation that this is what I'll do. I will ensure I run my proof of funds for 28 days or more if I can. I will ensure I apply for my visa as early as I can. You can even decide to apply for priority. So you're able to beat that timeline of, say, my 3 months timeline plan. I can reduce it to a month, because if I apply for priority, definitely I'll get a decision within 5 working days. Regardless, even though I want to apply for priority, I still have to put a plan in place. People apply for priority and then in 5 days, the visa decision is not out. So as you're identifying the risk, you're also identifying the mitigation plan. That is what risk management in project management entails. Communication, we've been talking. What communication style do I want to adopt with my stakeholders? I remember, I'm not sure if people experience this. If you have visa delays, you can do a paid call, a paid mail to Home Office that time. So what communication style do I want to adopt? Do I want to do phone calls or do I want to do emails? Those are the things you want to consider in your communication. Who have access to what communication? If I want to tell my sister, for instance, I can open up with my sister, I'm going to UK, I want to go and study this, I want to study this for this period, these are my plans. If I want to tell someone on the street, maybe just a random friend, I can say, I'm going to the UK to study. You don't need to know what course, you don't need to know where I'll be staying. I'm already streamlining the information that you have access to. I've broken the communication plan down, and I've decided that, okay, for this particular stakeholder set, for instance, maybe the press, this is what they would know. For my office, for instance, when you were working in Nigeria, you don't need to tell them everything your relocation plan entails. So that category, again, you have a certain information details that you want to provide them with. So you're not going beyond and probably telling them more that they are meant to know. For your stakeholder engagement, it still goes the same way, because there has to be a communication plan before you have your stakeholder engagement plan in place. Your stakeholders are the people that are affected by your projects, whether directly or indirectly, and people that also have influence on your projects. How do you identify the stakeholder? You can also do that by knowing their interest and knowing their power. Your parents have high power because they can tell you you're not going, and that is it. Your spouse can tell you, I don't agree, that is it. But your colleague in the office can tell you, I don't want you to travel. I mean, they really do not matter in the grand scheme of things that way. So that's what it means, that the people that have high power over your relocation plan, that's a stakeholder mapping. And then you're able to say, okay, this is what I want to communicate to each of these stakeholders. So you're able to actually get a feedback from them that will help you in your journey. For the quality management, quality, we all know, you want to come to the UK to study project management, for instance. You have that plan of, I really want to get the best out of this course. I want a course that I can easily land the job. I want a course that cuts across all sectors. I don't want a course that is limited to a particular sector, so I don't limit my chances of success. Those are the things you're talking about in the quality. You've checked the school. For instance, you've checked the quality of the materials, the library quality, the lecturers, check their association if they're registered under professional bodies and all. You've checked, and then you're 100% sure that this course is full of quality. You definitely get what you want from that course. That is what the quality management entails. Again, do we have questions? I don't want to call names, but I might be forced to do. I don't want to talk alone, so please engage.
Let me engage you. What do you want?
Yeah.
What okay, maybe we should take a break from the slides actually. Let's talk on the job.
Real life.
Let's leave template and slides.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you face on the job as a PM?
My biggest challenge.
What's the
I
part of
think
your job that you struggle with the most?
it's budgeting and resourcing.
So budgeting in what? So
Yeah,
what
so
exactly is
budgeting in the
budgeting?
sense that a client will give me £50,000 to work
Mm-hmm.
with. And then
Mm-hmm.
because probably now I'm in consulting, so they've worked
Yeah.
with a competitor before, and the
Mm-hmm.
competitor delivered that project with £40,000. They would then expect me to do same.
Okay.
And then they will tell you, oh, I want consultants, I want senior level engineers to work on the project, I want this, I want that. By the time you do your budget forecast and you're doing a breakdown, you're realizing that no, I cannot achieve this with that cost. Now,
Okay.
because I don't want to lose the relationship with the client, I tell the client, okay, let's come to an agreement. Let's do 45. The client agrees. I go back to my resources. Guys, instead of spending a full day, 7.5 hours on this project, can you do 5 hours daily? The resources will tell you, no, I cannot. I want more hours. That is where the conflict of we don't like project managers generally come from, because I'm telling you, I need you to do this thing in 5 hours. Realistically, it might not really be possible to actually achieve it, but I mean, if we put our best to it, it might be possible for us to achieve it. Now you are the middle ground, you are the middle person between the engineers or the resources and the client. Client has insisted this is what they want to do, and for the business, they might tell you, if you cannot get it, then I'm taking my business elsewhere. I've seen instances where sometimes we don't really make profit, we just decide to let us break even, let's get it done for them, because we want to think, okay, that will probably give us a bigger chance to get more projects from them
The future.
in the future, yeah, just to maintain that relationship with the clients. If we then decide on that, we come back to the resources. Now, because they've seen you agree to that kind of budget, they would expect that probably similar projects that we bring to them, you should be
Same
flexible.
budget.
And it doesn't really work that way. It doesn't really work that way most times. So yeah, I think I struggle with budgeting a lot. Budgeting and resourcing, I struggle with that a lot.
Okay. So my question is in two parts. The first part was for you. The
Yeah.
second part is for the class. So you have answered the first part. Now the second part for the class. With our response to my question, what do you guys think? What skill do you think she's actually using to answer that question? Who wants to go for it? So there are different skills that a project manager needs. There are different things you need to leverage to make the best of your time on the role. I asked her a question as to our biggest challenge, and clearly it's budget in terms of project owners or sponsors, I think, want to squeeze the most out of a very small amount. So they want to use a very small amount to get the biggest project possible. So she has said how she'll manage it. What do you guys think, or what skill do you think is actually shining through in that response? What do you think she's showcasing with that response that she gave?
I think communication skills.
Exactly, negotiation. Exactly. So it's negotiation, communication, stakeholder management.
And
So
motivation.
and motivation. So is it out of place to make the assumption that project management at the core is stakeholder management and stakeholder management, communication, all of that? Is it fair to say that's the main thing about project management? Let me ask you now. Now you're the expert, so now back to you, Ashabi. I've
Yeah.
come from you to the class, now back to you.
To the class. Yeah, so I think for project management, you're talking, you're cajoling people, you're motivating them, you're trying to make it as transactional as you can. You're trying to make it as transformative as you can. So it is your personal skills. I tell people to actually excel as a project manager, you have to be very, very motivating. You have to have a good negotiation skills. Sometimes you might tell a client, if the client is not ready to probably come down to your level for that profit, for that project budget, okay, no problem, but what deal can we make out of it? If I'm meant to do your project in say 4 months, I can tell you, okay, I'll do it in 6 months. That way I'm not utilizing my resources on a higher level. I'll make sure that it's balanced so they have other time to spend on other projects. I can also tell you, if you want more consultants on your project, you will not be getting that. And then I'll tell you, okay, I have maybe junior staff, I have the graduates that can still provide services for you. And then maybe a supervisory level, and then the consultants can handle that part for them. So it's more of you negotiating, and you still need to negotiate again with the resources, because they will tell you, I'm not going to spend 2 hours on a project a day. That's too small. What should I do with the remaining 5.5 hours? Well, that would be distracting. I just want to get a project done in 1 month and move on to other projects. So it is more of talking. You talk, you have lots of meetings back and forth, you have arguments, you have to have a good conflict resolution skills because you don't want to always like fight and go defensive all the time. Even when things are not going your way, you still have to manage it. You have to have it's just like video calls now. If I give a certain reaction on this call, you definitely see it and then you know that, oh, she's not happy. So you still have to, I won't say pretense, even though that's what I tell people, like you have to pretend. Even when you are not happy, you have to learn how to smile. When things are not going well, just continue smiling and then make them feel welcomed and they're able to say, oh, if Ola is on my project, Ola has a way of managing my project budget. She has a way of coming through with the timeline and then she still delivers in good quality for me. So it's a mix of different skills, basically.
There's a hand up. Modupe.
MB. Okay.
Modupe, you can speak.
Can Modupe hear us?
Hi,
Okay.
hi everyone. Maga, good afternoon. I have a
Afternoon.
question. So what you're basically talking about is, when you're like an external, maybe an external project manager, you're trying to do something for people. What if you are an internal project manager? Let me give an instance. You're an IT project manager. You have developers in-house. Because I was an IT project manager. You have developers in-house. There is a project. We've looked at it, we've broken it down, we've come up with a timeline for it, and then they did not deliver. Time is going. You call Scrum every morning. What have we done? We are on track. What is the percentage? We are on track. We are on track until you realize that we are not on track. So how do you manage that? How do you manage that instance? This is not an external stakeholder. This is in-house project. Everybody is, everybody. How do you manage that?
Okay. Yeah, so thank you for that question. I mean, when we say we attend stand-ups in the meeting, what happens? People just believe, they take words. I tell project managers that you cannot believe people by their words. It's giving we are all liars and may the best liar excel. I'll always tell you zero, is it zero composure? No, 100% composure, zero. They've not done anything. You can ask me as a PMO, is the project plan ready? And I'll tell you, oh, I'm on it. It's almost done when I've not even started. I might still be on another project entirely. Do you have access to, for instance, if you're using the Kanban board, do you have access to it as a PM? Do you check regularly? Every week, at the beginning of the week, now what I do on my projects is Monday morning, I have a schedule of what we should achieve that week from my project plan. I've highlighted it out, I've extracted it. I'm sharing it with everybody. I have this open table communication that when you have any challenge, come to me. You don't have to wait till meeting time. If by Thursday I'm asking for an update and it is not ready, that means there is a problem. So I'm willing for you to expose what the problem is. Talk to us, let us know where we can help. You can't continue being the particular developer on my project and you keep giving me issues week in, week out. That means there is a problem. Either discussing with your line manager, probably they should check in with you and let us know what the problem is. Some people struggle and they don't do well to speak up. It could just be maybe workload. They are on so many projects at the same time. And I'm thankful for some organizations that they have this resource optimization tool where you can actually check what people are working on. I mean, by their resource capacity, you're checking, okay, their availability is maybe 80%. That means they're actually very free. And when I'm checking, I'm seeing a resource I want to assign to a project, I'm seeing 80% busy mode already. Why do you still want to bring such a person on board? If you think that's the best skill you have, I mean the skill set now, that person has the best skill set at that time. Can you check for others that can work on it and maybe it will take up a supervisory role? That might mean you'll be spending more, although, and then you can discuss with them, okay, probably this person will not be booking time to this particular project, and then the junior ones working on it are booking time to it. You're also communicating to the client. This is what the issue is because you're making them understand. Now the client is not external now, it's still internal because you're working on, for instance, let's go for the software upgrade. Say you work in a bank and then a particular unit wants to upgrade the software that they use. The developers, in-house developers are working on it. At the end of week 3, out of maybe a 12 weeks project, nothing has been done at week 3. And then you still want to continue taking, we are on it. They will always tell you they are on it. But what exactly are you doing? Can you see results? You have deliverables, set it for them. Maybe weekly, you have to turn in this particular deliverable. And then another issue is people choose the wrong methodology on projects. they don't even have enough hands, or they don't have the best skill sets. You can't bring people on a project and then they don't even agree together that this is what I want to handle, this is what the particular unit is handling, and this is what another person is doing. Everybody's just doing what they like because they believe, oh, it's agile. So I can tell you I'm on it, I'm doing mine, another person is on it, they are doing theirs. So you have to choose the right methodology that you want to use. You have to check in with your feedbacks. How often do you want to expect feedback from each team? What are you doing as a project manager yourself? Are you checking regularly to ensure what you agreed within the scope is what is still happening? It's quite challenging managing people. That's the most difficult part of project management entirely when it comes to internal. David, I'll allow you to speak soon. So when it comes to internal project management, it's quite difficult managing people. So you yourself have to be as thorough as you can be. You still have to find a middle ground to ensure that they are able to tell you what their challenge is. And when you think they are just messing around with you and not ready to actually perform as you expected, you speak up. Yeah, David, you can speak before I'll confirm from Modupe if she's okay.
I actually have a question. So do you want to close that out first?
Let's finish with Modupe. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, Modupe. You're muted if you're speaking.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you for that. Don't worry, we'll meet in the class.
I'll be happy to have you on.
Okay,
yeah,
my
David,
question is this. When you're managing a project and you have delays, sometimes these delays are because, okay, maybe they've run into bugs or they have issues that they're struggling with. And other times, these delays can just be the fact that the person simply is not good enough to deliver on the task. One, how do you differentiate when the delays is technical? Maybe there's actually a problem that is difficult to solve, or when it's just a skill issue where the person is just not good enough to do the task. And so because they're not good enough, what would normally take 2 days is taking 4 days, taking 6 days, and then delaying the project. One, how do you figure that out? How can you tell? How do you determine when this is a real delay or this is a, so let's say, unnatural delay? Because when it's unnatural because there's a skill gap, then it's not really a delay. It's just this is the speed that this person can work with. How do you differentiate? And two, how do you manage that kind of thing?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we have a project we're working on and we've set our deliverables. When you're doing your resource optimization and allocation, I will have expected as a PM that you've already checked people's skill sets and you ensure they match. Most times you can even have access to maybe their CV. For instance, now I'm talking from the consulting part. Before we accept resources on projects, they will send in their CVs to me. I check what they've worked on, and then I'm sure it actually matched my project at that time. Then I can allow them to come on board. While the project is going on, if you are very involved in the project and you're not just assuming you want to give them task on Monday, they should come back to you by the end of the week, you should be able to actually identify what the issue is. You've done your proper risk assessment at the beginning of the project. You've checked with other projects that are similar to the one you're handling. So you know what the likely errors or the delays that should happen, how they should come from. So if you notice that kind of skill gap issue, the person will definitely have a line manager. You can either discuss with them and then let it pass on to the line manager, or you take it up yourself. If it's a very strict project that has a tight timeline, you don't want to delay. So you don't want to wait till they finally come and open up that, oh, I have an issue and this is the issue, or this is what I'm going through. Most times because project managers want to get more profit on projects, they tend to bring on board people with, not really that they don't have that skill set, but it doesn't directly match the project because they are cheaper. And then you even hear some people, they'll tell you, some project directors will tell you, because I want to make a certain profit between this period, oh, can you bring on this resource that would maybe cost like £20 per hour? When we all know that this person cannot, there is no, it's just like bringing me on to okay, I work in the water sector now, and then there is a project in the company. You're telling me I should come on board for construction or rail projects, for instance. It is like, yeah, I can do it over time. I'll need to like spend more time but it is not my skill set. So why are you even taking me there? Even if you have all the transferable skills on earth, it's only right that check through to ensure that you don't fail. Match the person's skills with what is required on the project. If the person tells you, because I want to learn on the project, oh, there are some projects that it is not for learning. We need people that, defense projects, for instance, and you want to bring in people that are just learning. From where to where? They should go and learn on maybe other project and then they can come on board? Because you want to joke with that kind of or finance projects now, or government projects, you want to come and learn and then say you have ideas. At that time, they don't really care about ideas. So it's only fair for you to let the clients know that you're spending more. As long as you're going to get the right thing, it's better than you to say, oh, you want to spend less, because I think that's the major thing that happens when there's skill set issue.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much. There's one more hand.
Chukwuka, yeah.
Okay, I just want to add to it more on the internal project manager now, and more on the skill gap issue. So I used to work in a place where I had this, I would call him the project manager now. It was very heavy on closing skill gap. So yeah, so one way I think is for the project manager to actually be involved in what the tech guys or what the engineers are doing. Because if you understand what they are doing, they will not just tell you that I'm on it, I'm on it. You actually note that they are on it. You get? So one way was he encouraged pair programming. I'm a developer, so he encouraged pair programming. That was one way to close the gap between more senior guys and the junior guys. Sometimes you let the junior guys drive, sometimes you let the senior guys drive. You understand? So, and how this thing helped, I joined the team as a backend engineer, and I was working with them as a backend engineer. Then the guy saw that there was a project coming to us in like a month or two that was very front end heavy. So you already understood the technical side of this project. What it did now was me, that was a backend engineer, he started making sure I was getting more like front end task. You understand? So more like a preparation for the project that was coming in the future. You understand? So he understood everything. And when the project eventually came that was really front end heavy, yeah, everybody could easily pick up on the task. So if maybe I was just still on my backend kind of job and everybody was still on their, because it was a cross-functional team now, everybody was doing what they know how to do. Yeah, it would have been, the project would have taken way longer now because we would have had less front-end guys to handle the job. So that was one way the guy actually did that. And it was a very brilliant way. So I would encourage the middle guys now, the project managers now, to stop leaning more towards management and like be involved in what the people that are managing are doing. When you have a better understanding of what's going on, you can readily stop over promising management and just messing things up for the dev guys. But yeah, so that's the little stuff I just thought to share.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, it's only fair to carry everybody along and not just assume because they are junior staff, they do not know what they're talking about. So I think that brings us to talking more about the project management skills. We've talked about the hard skills during our conversation and the soft skills, risk management, time management, scheduling, budgeting, and the like. So I think I can leave the slide. So now to talk about what actually brought us there, which is project management with Prince2. Prince2 is a methodology. We have quite a good numbers of methodologies. Let me just share that here. So we have the Agile, we have the Waterfall, the Scrum, the Kanban, Lean, and all. And one major thing that determines the type of methodology you would adopt on your project is the type of the project you're handling, the sector you're in, the constraints, the deliverables, and all. For Prince2, Prince2 is quite big because it talks about how the project will be managed, tells you who is doing what, tells you how it should be done. So you can adopt that method for different projects. It's not just streamlined. Unlike the Agile or Waterfall, for instance, where Agile works more in the IT sector, and then the Waterfall is you have to complete a task before you go on to another task. So for this course, we are going to be dwelling more on Prince2, which I will not be doing today. I mean, I'm not going to bore people out because, again, we all said we're foundation. So let's just start from having a good knowledge of what project management entails. And I think we've done a good job talking about the relocation process that all of us can actually relate to. So why do you think you want to choose project management as a career? Can we have a few options? for David is going to tell me it is because of the money, which is a lie.
No, I have I have a more comprehensive answer actually. I mean, let's not deceive ourselves. Money is enough motivation. So yes, there is the money. But as someone that works in tech, I'm not pro tech by the way. I work in tech because that's the only thing I know. If I knew all that things, maybe I'll not be in tech. I don't know, but it's only tech I know. That's why I'm in tech. For someone that works in tech and for people that are thinking of doing tech, I genuinely pitch project management to them because I see it as a low-hanging fruit. Because I genuinely believe it's non-technical. So if you're a great communicator, for example, you would most likely make a good project manager because 80% of the job is communication and managing people's expectations. So that's not a skill that you need to learn any programming language for. If you speak well, if you listen well, if you're good at taking notes, you write well, then more often than not, you're already on track to become a good project manager. If you're well organized in your personal life, I'm sure that's something you can transfer into work, and that makes you a good project manager. So that's number one. Number two, the real benefits of working in IT, even though people tend to say it's the money, I don't think it's the money, to be honest. Not every IT job will pay you 80K, 100K, but the one thing that IT jobs can give you that is probably worth more than money is the flexibility of remote work. I cannot explain to you how much value that comes or that gives you as a person. The fact that there are days that you can work from home and things like that. As a family person, for example, that is a massive game changer for you if you have kids. Because then you can plan your life easily. You can make trips, you can make journeys that will not really affect your work life. So that's my pitch for IT. My pitch for IT is not money driven. It's time driven because you have more time to do the things that you want to do. If I had a job that required me to go into the office every single day, there is no way on earth I'll be doing this that I'm doing now because my weekends will be maxed out. But because I work remotely, there is so much time to do many other things. So project management, because I think it's a low-hanging fruit. If you already communicate effectively, you communicate well. There are not many things you need to add to your skill set to actually launch a career in PM. Secondly, because working in anything IT or PM or roles like this affords you the time that you can't necessarily put a monetary value on. And I think it's a very big deal. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have quite a number of hands. I think Arnold can go first, then Onyekachukwu next, and okay, let's just start that way. I think Arnold, I'm not sure I can say so many things. So yeah, Arnold.
Okay. So to answer your question, for me personally, it's money has always been a factor, to be fair, but it's one for me, it's a challenge. Two, it's the love for the job. When I mean challenges, I'm from an engineering background, and I did my master's in IT, so I have quite a wide range of experience because I did auto in finally for a while, so I have a quite range of an experience, and I have an experience sort of in project management. But what's really intrigued me most about it is, there was this saying, I don't know if it's common, that the most in management, I think that the most difficult people to handle are humans. Yeah, so I was quite intrigued. I was quite intrigued by that, and I really wanted to, I just like challenge basically, and I like, so that's why I went for that. And also, it's the love for the job because I tend to think about things long term, and what I think about it long term is the fact that if I'm doing this every day, do I get bored of doing it, or do I find a way of continue a continuous process of remaining relevant? And that's the last part of IT that really intrigues me, is the fact that you're always relevant. So yeah, that's my answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you, Arnold. I think I like that. The career satisfaction is quite important. When you do what you enjoy, you actually put in your best, and you get creative. You're looking for a good way to deliver and then make everybody happy. That's a good one. Yeah, Onyekachukwu, you can go next.
So I have more like a question to David now. Yeah. So you mentioned that for project management now, if you can already you're very good at public speaking, you can leverage on those your soft skills already. So what about someone wants to get into project management and don't have those skills? Are you saying they are not fit for that project management role?
Absolutely not, because it's easier to learn how to communicate effectively than it is to learn Python. It's easier to learn emailing etiquettes than it is to learn Power BI. That's a fact. It's easier to learn how to manage people in a professional setting than it is to learn SQL, for example. So I say it's a low-hanging fruit because the learning requirements or the learning demands or commitments are still achievable for the average person that is educated. That's what I mean. So you can learn those skills. I'm not saying everybody's born with the ability to communicate effectively, but if you already have them, which in many cases, many of you, I mean, for example, many people here have done a master's degree. So meaning you've done a whole dissertation of 10,000 words. So your vocabulary is quite rich, to be fair. So in terms of language and communication, you are not that far behind. You're slightly above average. So if you need to refine that a little bit just to make you fit the job role, then by all means, yes, it is. So I say that because in comparison to the other options that are out there, these are within reach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Blossom can go.
So the question is why you want a career or why you want to work in project management, right?
Yeah. A career
Okay,
in project management.
a career. Okay, for me, I think number one is money because I hate poverty. Then number two, I find that from my experience working in project management, then there's no one day that is alike. So I'm hardly ever bored. And my I just wake up thinking, okay, what am I going to hear in this stand-up now that's going to make me my adrenaline pump and I have to start thinking, okay, what to do to mitigate this. Then three, I think, is the idea of remote working. And that goes without saying. I won't dwell on it because David already touched so much on that. But yeah, I like the idea of that. And the fourth reason would be gosh, I lost my train of thoughts now. But yeah, those three. Let's work with the three. The fourth one, I thought it was a point, but I can't remember it now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those three, I think we can work with that. So um that's why I like a career in project management. Yeah, I think the fourth one is the fact that um the what's it called? The skills you pick up as a project manager, you don't I I don't think you have to go to any formal learning to implement those. You can start seeing your life as a project and how you manage your life and now translate those little things you do to manage your life into your work before you can now decide, okay, I want to get a formalized learning in project management and just build from there. So project management, I and one thing I like about working in project management is the fact that first of all, the learnings from, for example, healthcare can be translated into that field if you're very strategic about knowing how to like basically apply what you've learned in healthcare in project management. I think is something that I love about the field. So yeah, those are my four reasons for working in project management.
Thank you, Blossom. Gift, yeah, you can before I would round up.
Hello everyone. So yes, I'll acknowledge what Blossom said, the money bit and all of that. For me, it's also the transferable skills. And in that vein, I want to like just be a bit of, I don't want to say combat something David said. When a lot of times people say, oh, once you're a good communicator, it would, boost your chances of being a project manager or a product manager. But I think that's a bit sketchy, and that's where the term being a technical PM or not being a technical PM comes in. So a lot of times, especially for the first question the person raised about, oh, you're a PM and then maybe they're not delivering on time, it will be more difficult for you to track that because, so for example, if it's the front end developer that says something, you could, see visually what the person is doing and say, oh, that there's a delay in this or that. But if it's the back end person, if you have no idea, right, of what they're doing, it's easy to get lost. Yes, you could have meetings with like subject matter experts and just ask for feedback, but the fact that I was talking about me combating what he said, which is that there are so many other skills you would need to pick up. You would a bit of UI UX, because you also need to speak. If you're doing IT, you will need to speak with those people and understand what's going on, right? You would also need to speak with front end and all of that. So I think the transferable skills, being able to learn on the job and pick up those experiences from each of these other tech people, are like the things that also make me want to do more in project management. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that submission, Gift. I had an experience on that. Has to do with a project on estimation. I don't know anything about estimation before now, and then I was given the scope. Of course, I've gone through it. I'm like, okay, she is just to manage, know when they would send in their deliverables and all. But along the line, during meetings, I'll be hearing bottom-up estimates, and I'll just be looking like, hey, what are these people talking about? At the end of the meeting one day, I just had to go back, like, no, you know what? Let me just start reading about this. And then I realized I was able to contribute more to the meetings. I was able to probably challenge them when they give me feedback that no, that's not what it's meant to be. This is not how it's meant to be handled, and this is not the duration it should take. So yeah, I think as project managers, you have to continuously learn on whatever project you are on. You can't just limit yourself because all you want to do is to manage people, manage the budget, and manage the time. No, you still have to consider the quality of whatever output you be giving back to the client and continuously read to develop yourself. And another thing I love about project management for me is the fact that you can go into different, despite the fact that you're working on in project environment, you have lots of options. You can be the project support officer, you can do the project manager, you can be a project planner, you can be the PMO analyst. There are different roles, so you're not like limited to a particular role that all you want to apply for is project manager. Because most times when people come to me, oh, Ola, I went through these requirements for this particular job, and I'm seeing things that I don't think I have, I'll tell them, okay, I think it's because you're going for maybe a project manager role, for instance, and they're telling you in the requirement they want someone with like 5 to 10 years experience. Why not start from something junior? Start probably as a project support officer. What you're doing more there is documentation, filing minutes of meetings. You're supporting the project manager. That way, it's just like you're understudying what the project manager is doing. If you do more of project coordinator, if you're someone that is into the event sector, for instance, you've planned events and all, that's a coordinating role. And that way you're able to bring in transferable skills from that environment to it. Again, when you're going for project roles, some people make the mistake of, for instance, I think was it Fumilayo that said she's a digital marketer, she studied digital marketing. We have digital project managers. As a digital marketer, my understanding is you produce content. They'll come to you, oh, I have this project idea, I want you to produce content that will suit that purpose. As a project manager, now if I want to say, oh, I want to go into project management, I can go for digital project manager roles because I have an idea of how it works. If you work in the healthcare, for instance, as a support worker or care worker, I know they produce a meal plan, care plan for clients and all. Those are the transferable skills that we're talking about, that you're coming into the healthcare center, for instance. It's easier for you to land a job in the NHS because you've worked in that environment than going from support worker now. You want to go into construction project manager. Yes, it is achievable, but you struggle, you most likely struggle, and it will maybe take you a longer period of time to actually achieve that. So that is where this part of, okay, what can you do to easily land a job here? You have to first self-access yourself. Look at yourself, what are the skills you have. If you don't like talking, you might struggle in not like you might, you most likely struggle because you do it, but you're not doing it with joy. I can go on and talk for hours and not get tired because I enjoy talking, especially when it is interactive. I enjoy, oh, I'm raising a question, people are throwing their own ideas. Just look at today now, we've had different people from different sectors. We have an engineer on board, we have someone from the Blossom, I can't remember her sector, but yeah, she's from a different sector. We have Gift, like people from different sectors. Then you're able to rub minds together, and that is what happened on projects. You're not the only one on that project. You're coming on board with different people from different skill sets, so you will learn. Power BI, I remembered when I first started my job last year, and my boss told me I should get a report from Power BI. In my head, I'm like, hey, matter don't cast, because I hear Power BI a lot from David on the TL, and I never for once I'm that lazy with picking up new skills because I was just like, I'm not sure I need this, please. So when you mentioned, I went back to YouTube, I started learning. I'm like, no, this will not fail me. I joined David's class on Power BI, and now at least for the sake of my job, I'm good on Power BI, at least job related. Not like as good as David or probably some of his own students will come on. So you have to self-access. Do you like enjoying meetings? Do you get distracted easily? If you think you get distracted easily, you struggle again because you have to be in your mind has to be in the meetings. You're not just joining meeting for joining sake. You're joining to contribute. You're joining to take feedbacks, and then you're able to develop your minutes at the end of it. Do you enjoy typing? Do you enjoy putting things together? Those are some of the skills you need. Do you enjoy negotiating? You have people in different time zones. For instance, if you have someone from US, someone from Canada, you have to find a way and find a middle ground for everybody to meet. It won't always be the UK time that you guys will have your meetings with. So that's also a negotiating skills that you need there. Contracting, when you're doing your contract budget, you have to engage your clients. If they want to go lower, you're picking a particular option of, say, option A. I don't care about whatever I'll be spending. Just give me the total budget and let me go handle it. Are you good with that too? Are you empathetic if your probably your resource calls in the morning? No, I'm sorry, I cannot join the project meeting today. Do you flare up easily? Do you have control over your anger? Those are the skills that you then check and see, oh, I have them. And then when we go the technical way, are you good with probably the project plan? For instance, you need the Primavera or the MS project. You need Power BI too on your job. Are you good with it? Are you good with learning? Are you good with supervising people? By the time you put together all those skills, you're sure that, okay, yeah, I have say like 60-70%. And when you check most job adverts, they'll put it there. We don't want you to have all these skills, but we expect you should have the probably desirable, essential, and all. Those are the categories, and then you've been able to access and see that you match. By the time you're done your skills identification, trainings and qualifications, what have you done? What training have you had? I love trainings where I'm able to say, we're not going to talk and talk. We are going to work on a project. A typical example is the project of relocation. Now, I can tell you, okay, yeah, let's have this project of you want to relocate to Canada from UK. That is a live project you're working on. Let's have a project where we want to develop an application for a company. That is a live project. You learn faster that way than just reading and reading and reading. It really might not make much influence on you. For qualifications, do you register with professional bodies? Students, I encourage them. When I came in 2022, the first thing I did was to register as a student member with Association for Project Management. And when I finished, I upgraded to the associate. And right now, I'm a full member of Association of Project Management. So I think it's something people need to think about. You have to have a plan. Make your life your project first, and then you have a plan of this is what I want to achieve within this period. Before the end of this year, for instance, I want to come on board with this training. I want to get my Prince 2 foundation and certification exam done. That is a plan. Then what do you need to do? You join trainings, then you sit for your exam. You network. While you are networking, an example, you might join this call today with no mindset of actually registering for the course, but you join because you think you want to network. I have about 2-3 names already that I know I'm going to be chatting after this call because I want to connect with them. That is what networking entails. You go on Eventbrite, you go on the professional bodies website, check for as many webinars that you can register, join the webinars, attend the sessions. If it's physical and in your location, join them. If it's social events too, you meet different people. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to talk about what you do. David will use one line that talk your talk. After your CV has gotten you in, you have to go and talk. You cannot say you're an introvert. No, you have to talk and then commit. Let people know this is what you do. This is what I can offer. And then they're happy to bring you on board and say, oh, come work with me on this particular project. For the CV review and interview practice, it is a continuous thing. You regularly review your CV. I think we all know how the job industry here. You can't just say you have one CV and then you want to continue using it to apply for all project management roles. Do you fine tune it to fit into the requirements the job entails? Yes. Then you stand a better chance of being called for screening and then you move to the interview side. It's a lot easier when you have someone holding your hands each step, someone that has been through it. I mean, when I say been through it, I've been through it. I have videos of David coaching me for interviews. David is not a project manager, but the skills is there that at interviews he can talk. So those were the things I actually just copied. And then I have a few people here that they've worked with me when they wanted to apply for jobs. Maybe they give them assessments. I have some that we've done interview practice together and all. And yeah, they were able to learn something. It's easier when you have someone in the industry walking the journey with you. Technology changes almost every day. So you have someone saying, oh, the usual interview questions that you get will not be what you'll be getting now. If you're quite familiar with the NHS recruitment process now, because they realize people use AI for the supporting statement, it's changing. They will present your supporting statement to you and ask you questions. Then ChatGPT has developed it for you. Can you talk about it? No. But when you have someone that practices, someone in the industry, it's a lot easier. And then the continuous self-development. A project manager is here still joining another session, talking about project management. I mean, she can say she has it all, she knows it all, but she's still here to learn and probably pick 1 or 2 points to still make up in her own private life. So I think those career tips would really help us. And that's why we're having a session today for us to talk about project management with Prince 2. See as many people that will be interested in taking up the course. We have different qualifications, to be honest. I think I have a table that talked about qualifications. Yeah. So we have quite a lot of qualifications. We have the Prince 2, we have the ones from Association for Project Management. The interesting thing about the Prince 2 is it is multi-choice. And for people that love multi-choice exam, it's easier for you to ace this exam. You have the foundation before you get a practitioner settled. So if you love multi-choice answers, you like filling the gap, you do well to actually like ace your Prince 2. And most people that have coached, I mean, I'm quite happy that they ace it one time. Unlike the APM exams are theory and they are time bound. You cannot expect me to finish 10 questions in 3 hours and I have part A, part B. It's quite hard, like no matter how fast you want to think you are. Compared to the Prince 2 foundation, that is just 60 questions, get 33 questions right, and then you have your foundation, then you go for your practitioner. We have the PMI, but I advise people in the UK to actually focus on Prince 2 and APM. If you check most job descriptions today and the adverts, you're seeing them, project management qualification, having Prince 2 there, project management qualification, having Prince 2 there. So it's very important that if you come on board, you're done with the training, get your certification done, and then you're hitting the job market. We have the Scrum Alliance, that's the CSM coming from them, and we have the Professional in Project Management, that's from GAQM, GQAM. I can't remember the acronym now for the company. So yes, as many questions as you want to ask, probably if you've been confused about qualifications, we can talk about it before we now check random job samples, adverts. Can people still hear me? Okay, yeah. Arnold again. I have some people that have not said a word on this call. Neither have they dropped anything in the chat box. I just want to believe you're listening and you not that you just joined to mark attendance. So yeah, Arnold, you can speak, please.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a very curious person, and I think I've gotten to a point where I really need to make a decision on what I want to do long term. So it's really a burden to me. So yeah, my question. So I have a friend who is a project manager. His name is Tunji. I believe you know him, Ashabi. Anyways, I spoke to him based on my experience from Nigeria. I worked in construction, and I was there as a manager, an engineer, anyways. So, but after speaking with him about what a career path would be, and he said actually go into project management and construction, but haven't stayed away from that career direction for a while, and I've been into care, and I know I heard you say something about it's easier to delve into NHS and all of that. But I'm still a bit confused, to be fair, because I really want to do something that I really enjoy, and project management is something I've come to realize that would be a good career path long term. So, what exactly would be your advice? That's exactly my question. What would be your advice? What do you think? I mean, I'm good with most of the soft skills and the hard skills. In fact, I have more skills than I can even begin. But utilizing it now exactly would be my challenge.
Yeah, thank you. So I think my best advice for you is I don't advise people to specialize early. I mean, if you're just starting a career, I did not specialize early and I've not even specialized yet. I'm still all over the place. And that's why I went the consulting route. Because for consultants, I'm able to work in different sectors. If I leave water today, I can tell them I'm done with water. I want to move into the defense. I can tell them I want to move to healthcare. That way I'm touching each of the sector around. You have a bit of background in engineering, in construction, and then healthcare. So you can apply to as many industries as you can as a start. The good thing about the Prince 2 qualification now is it is not streamlined. You have Prince 2, you can work in all the sectors round. So wherever you now start from, if you join, say, the healthcare, for instance, and you enjoy that sector, you can decide to just stay put there, and then you now find courses to develop more in the healthcare sector. If you think, oh, I'm not comfortable with this, I want to move elsewhere, I want to move to IT, And then your personal circumstance, what do you enjoy doing? If you enjoy working with softwares and all, why not? You can go to the banking, the financial part of project management. If you think you enjoy the defense, you're being creative and all, you can go the defense route. So don't specialize early. Get a qualification sorted, if preferably Prince 2 actually, because I mean that's the easiest to ace. Get your Prince 2 sorted, then you start applying. Whichever sector you're lucky to get in, then you can start saying, oh, you want to go a particular route of streamlining yourself to healthcare if that's where you get your first job or otherwise.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, we can still have a chat after this session. I mean, to probably talk more. If you think you have more concerns that you don't want to talk about on this field.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, that's fine. No worries. Yeah, Blossom, you can go next.
I wanted to just mention something in relation to this opportunities within project management. I think it was the second to the last slide that you had on. In addition to that, I just wanted to highlight something. I mean, the public service space, like civil service, and I find that there might be some synonyms to all those roles that you've listed. For example, most of the time, project management roles, some directory refer to it as delivery managers. So it's also important that you read the job descriptions and see what the job entails before you just keep pass and say, oh, I can't do it. So I just wanted to highlight that sometimes the project manager jobs can be like service managers or delivery managers. Like it just helps to find the synonyms that are in line with project management, just so that you're not skipping opportunities that you sort of qualify for, and you can also apply to that. I just wanted to highlight that. And
Yeah, thank you, Blossom.
you're welcome.
So I'll always go back to share my screen, just for us to have an idea of when we talk about we have lots of project management jobs in the UK. This is me searching just now, and I'm seeing 29,000 plus. You always find, like, there is no city. You always find something. You could see project coordinator, assistant. You always, like, there is always an opportunity. And the fact that it cuts across all the sectors makes it really interesting, because my options are wide, my options are open. I'm not restricted to saying, oh, this is the only sector I can work in, for instance. So if I'm able to have as many options as this, then what is stopping me? Why am I not sitting down to see how long will it take me? Yeah, this is the digital project manager role that I spoke about earlier. You can see business project manager, graduate project manager. There is always an option. You can choose to just start lower, so you don't have too many expectations on the job, or the pressure is not really high because you don't want anybody probably pressurizing you to perform and all. But when you start, you have a career plan mapped up, and then you're getting better, you're skilling up, so you can meet up and probably switch companies, or even remain in the same company and work in different sectors. It might be an option to consider. Blossom, yeah, your hands are up.
I forgot
Or
to
is that
take
the
it
whole one?
down.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. And then you have the software project manager. Basically, if you just read, let's just open one, for instance. Yeah, you can imagine now a project manager in the beauty sector. You wonder, like, what does this entail? But yeah, I mean, it's an option. It's open. Not going to apply. Yeah, now, so imagine someone that has done content creation across different formats. That's visual, video production. If you're a TikToker, for instance, I'm sure you have lots of content that you've produced on TikTok. You can work under pressure. You have skills and video production process. You see all these transition videos and all. These are some of the skills that you need. You've experienced working directly with crew, photographers, agents. Now imagine someone that probably, when they were in Nigeria, their church, for instance, they are in the drama group. It's a skill already, because you've worked with these people. It's just for you to now be able to say, oh, I did this in a more formal environment. Those are part of the required experience that it's needed for this particular role. Just imagine TikTok, YouTube, out of home, other market, exactly, Instagram. So this particular role now will fit someone that loves content creation. Someone like me now might struggle because where do I want to start from? But someone that has been doing this on TikTok, for instance, will definitely do well with packaging themselves for this role. Once they're able to get all the skills right, get a proper CV, and then you apply. You're working closely with video editor, with the designer, and that was what I can't remember. Someone mentioned this earlier, that you have to go the UI UX part of it. So you have to make sure probably the landing page for the advert is as attractive as possible. So you will always, there are different cities, there is always an option. There is always an option. So what are we doing individually now to prepare yourself? I think that is what you take back from this session. Go back, go check yourself, see what you can do to come on board and learn more about project management in the in-depth world. Now you want to learn everything it entails, not just the surface. You want to go in depth about it, and you're good to go. You have the change delivery manager. I can't remember who mentioned this. Okay, it was Blossom that mentioned this now. It's just the title that is different. Because what are they talking about that you'll be doing? Let's just roll up and talk about this. Yeah, you identify risk and challenges. We mentioned this already. Support project owners and sponsors. You're still working as a project manager here. It's just the title of the job that is different. So you don't just be lazy again to just ignore once you see the title. Just read about the role, see the things. Most of these things are what project manager does. It's just that probably in this organization, they have another name for it. That's why they call it the train delivery manager. And then the experience that is required, you have it, APMP qualification, and see the salary, 65 grand. So if you're able to land a job like this, and then after a year on this role, you're shooting for higher levels, it's a good opportunity. So yeah, I think, let me ask if there are other questions. If not, I can possibly hand over to David. Questions, contributions, addition? Why are we all muted?
Modupe, go for it.
Okay, I just want to ask a silly question. So, without the Prince 2 certification and all, can someone not get a job?
Let me answer that one. I think you can, but you need the work experience to back that up. Okay, so why we actually introduce certifications and all that is because in the absence of an actual work experience, the certification might be able to fill in that gap. That's the idea. So it's like telling me now that you want to work as a trainer, for example, you want to teach Excel or something in the school, but you have no track record of you doing anything that has to do with Excel. On what grounds am I supposed to take that risk and hire you? So if you have no experience in project management, no verifiable corporate experience in project management, if you're Prince 2 qualified, at least that forces me to give it a chance. Like, okay, at least you're qualified, you're certified. Now let me hear you speak. Does that make sense? So it's to improve your chances in the absence of the actual work experience. Where there is a work experience, maybe you don't really need these certifications. Personally, I don't have any professional certification, zero. I only have my degrees. But why? Because I don't need them. I have enough work experience to help me thrive in my career. So I've never bothered to actually do a certification. If my case was different, maybe I don't have the degrees that I have. I don't have the experience that I have. Of course, to improve my chances, I would consider doing some certifications. Does that make sense?
Yes, boss, it does.
Yes. Cool. So